And now, our story continues.
Hello. Let me speak to Mr. Duval, Leroy Duval. What difference does it make who this is? Yeah, I'll hold on.
Pop Walters waited impatiently as Mavis Haggerty left the phone to call Leroy Duval. Pop had been frightened by Sheriff Ellis's visit, by the sheriff's avowed intention to check thoroughly into Walter's past. It was something Duval ought to know. After what seemed an eternity to the anxiously waiting Pop, he heard Duval's approaching steps, could faintly hear him speak to Mavis as a door closed. Then...
Hello.
Leroy?
Yes?
This is Stanley. I gotta talk to you.
What the... Just a moment. Stanley, what's the meaning of this? Haven't I told you before?
I know, Leroy. I wouldn't be calling now if it wasn't important. But it's all right. I'm using a payphone. I tell you, this is hot, Leroy. The sheriff is just after my place. It looks like trouble.
Really? I thought you were so confident you had nothing to worry about.
Yeah, I know, but this is different. He's digging up old stuff. He's out to pin something on me.
Are you so surprised, Stanley? I told you, didn't I? They always can if they try.
Look here, Leroy. I don't need any postmortems. I want to see you.
Yes, I understand. Stanley, what you say is true. You're a very good person to avoid.
Yeah? So that's the way you begin to talk, eh? I wouldn't if I was you, Leroy. Don't forget you're in this, too.
Oh, your sense of humor, my friend. Of course, I was only joking. But, frankly, I don't know how it can be arranged, not immediately.
Well, how about tonight at your place? I'll make sure I'm not followed.
Definitely not. Even you should see that should be a serious mistake.
All right, then. You come over to the store, Leroy, this afternoon.
This afternoon? That hardly seems an improvement over the other idea. No, Stanley, as a matter of fact, I don't...
Listen, what is this, Leroy? The runaround? If you've got any notion of pulling something like that, start thinking again. It ain't just yours truly that stands to get into trouble.
Yes, I realize that, but the risk...
There won't be any risk. You know it don't look suspicious for you to come to the store. Just bring that order book for the soda pop like you always do. And don't fool around with me, Leroy. I ain't in a fooling mood.
Oh, very well. I'll be over right away.
Good afternoon, Stanley.
Well, it's about time, Leroy. Come on to the back room.
Just as you say. By the way, isn't this rather unusual? I'd expected to find the place swarming with your happy, carefree high school youngsters. The lunch hour, yet it's deserted.
Yeah, that's another thing, Leroy. Mr. Hellman, he says he's a member of the school board. Come in here a while ago. He says that since my name is under question, my place has been declared out of bounds for the kids. I tell you, the heat's on.
Yeah?
Sit down, Leroy.
Thank you. So you're being boycotted, eh? That does pose a problem, doesn't it? Now both ends of the business are at a standstill.
It don't make sense, that's all. You know how that sheriff was right after the raid? Why, he practically got out and apologized for storming in here. Then all of a sudden he pops back hotter than ever. What do you suppose caused it?
I haven't the slightest idea. Unless his former apologetic manner was only a ruse. Perhaps he wanted to throw you off your guard, Stanley.
There's another thing that strikes me funny, Leroy, and that's your timing on this proposition you made me yesterday. Seems like you knew what was going to happen. Reckon you wouldn't be pulling a fast one, would you?
Oh, come now, Stanley, come. Don't let your alarms destroy your reasoning. The situation can't be that bad.
It can't, huh? Listen, I guess I know when somebody's after my blood. Don't take a smart man to figure that one out.
Well, you should know, Stanley. You're the one who talked with the sheriff, aren't you? But I think I reminded you, Stanley, the end was inevitable. Don't you see Ellis is ambitious, and this case has received so much publicity it would be decidedly to his advantage to close it up? The good citizens are demanding action. And he apparently isn't particular how he gives it to them. If he can get you on an old offense, it'll still be a victory for him. Well, how about it, Stanley? Is there any unfinished business in the past?
You know the answer to that, Leroy. I can't have them digging into my records.
Oh, that's too bad. Well, there's still one way out.
Your proposition?
It's a very good one.
I can't figure that as an out. It seems to me it's only asking for trouble.
Well, at least you'll be handsomely paid.
Yeah, and at the same time, it'll save your neck. That's what you're thinking, ain't it, Leroy? Well, think this one over, too. If I go, you're going along with me. I'll give them the whole story about your setup. So while you're inviting me to sort out a rap, you can be considering how you like it yourself.
Very well, Stanley. That's the way you feel. I can't prevent you from doing it. If you want to be so foolish, if you want to kill your one chance of a quick release. But on the other hand, Stanley, I simply don't understand you being so vindictive. I've done quite a lot for you in the past, you know. And I undoubtedly would continue to help you in the future.
Sure, you've done a lot for me. Everything, but listen. I told you this town meant trouble, didn't I? Didn't I say it wouldn't be like any of the others? I said, let's get out a long time ago. But you knew all the answer, Leroy. You couldn't see it at all.
I didn't anticipate your handling Ricky the way you did, Stanley. If you hadn't been so stupid and threatening him, we wouldn't be in this silly mess.
What do you mean we wouldn't? I'm the one that's in it.
But I thought you were going to take me along with you. Oh, Stanley, it's so ridiculous for us to quarrel. Right now, we must cooperate. I've given you the assurance of a quick release, either a pardon or a parole. Now, actually, you'll serve a very little time. And, Stanley, you'll have this, all of it, when you come out.
So, you brought that stuff along again, huh?
Oh, that's very precious stuff, as you call it. Particularly when it comes in $100 denominations, as these do. Oh, Stanley, do you actually realize what it means to you? There's a small fortune here, enough to buy a small business and guarantee you security all the way through your declining years. And when you come out, you can kiss the rackets goodbye. You can live in peaceful contentment wherever you wish, without the police ever snooping around.
You say when I come out, Leroy. Don't you think you'd better say if I come out? How can you be so cocksure about this pardon?
Stanley, the man who'll be in a position to do it has already given me his word.
Who's that? Mr. Jonathan Smith?
Do we need to discuss that? Look, I've always kept my word to you.
It's Mr. Smith, all right. He figures into it some way, I know. It was Mr. Smith that tipped us off about the raid. But it beats me, Leroy. I don't know how you ever got him to play along.
It shouldn't be necessary to question your good fortune, Stanley.
Yeah? But I don't know that it's exactly the fortune I want.
Well, it's your decision. You can continue to let Ellis hammer at you until he has what he's after, or you can reveal the nobility of your soul by making confession. And, Stanley, for that sum of money, I'm afraid I could be noble myself.
Yeah, then why don't you try it?
Would you really like for me to? After all, wouldn't I have to incriminate you as my go-between?
You've got it figured out pretty smooth, haven't you?
The facts are obvious, Stanley.
Yeah. Well, I'm not a complete fool, Leroy. I guess I know when I'm licked. Oh, this Mr. Smith, or whoever it is, do you think he can make good on that pardon?
I'm confident of it, Stanley. After all, we've been friends for a good many years, you and I. I wouldn't let you make this step unless I certainly felt absolutely sure it was to your advantage, would I?
Yeah. Well, in spite of our arguments, Leroy, I guess you have played pretty square with me.
Why, of course I have, Stanley. You realize it's impossible for me to admit any part of this affair without involving you. That's why I'm willing to pay such a high price. Let's call it an expression of my gratitude and my personal regard for you.
Yeah. Well, it's a lot of money, Leroy, but I don't know.
A short time later, Leroy Duval stepped into a phone booth in a downtown drugstore, dialed Jonathan Smith's office in the Smith Construction Company. Hello, Mr. Smith. Yes, it's Leroy Duval. I think you can stop worrying, Mr. Smith. Stanley has just agreed to accept our offer. Yes, he'll take the full responsibility. And, that should wind the whole thing up in a hurry. So Jonathan Smith's scheme was successful. Under pressure applied by Sheriff Ellis, acting innocently as an instrument of Mr. Smith's, Pop Walters has agreed to confess to selling liquor to minors. But are Mr. Smith and Leroy Duval justified in their confidence that it will leave them in the clear?